What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of PLD-1138 on the PLD Projects YouTube channel, my little slice of YouTube universe. I'm your host. It's me. It's PLD. This should be a quick short form video this week. Don't have a whole lot of news to discuss, but you know what? Let's get right to it. We'll do news. We'll do some reviews of the Clone Wars Season 7, Episode 7. And I'll get into, of course, my latest of the media walkthrough, and maybe discuss some things I might be doing for the series sometimes in the future. But you know what? Let's just get right into it. I don't want to get any chit-chatting, any precursor, or her. I'm here, you're here. Let's just get right to it. Very bit of news that came out this week so far. Joby Harold, that's this guy right here, Joby Harold. He has been tapped to write the Obi-Wan series per Variety. The Disney Plus series. Now it's going to be in production in January of 2021 after some delays and pushing back of things. And, well, this is an interesting thing for me at this point because I'm getting a little concerned about it. It seems like there's just a whole lot of movement going on. I know initially it was meant to be a movie at some point. They pulled back on that. They went into a series. But then there was one person writing. Now Joby Harold's taking over. It seems like there's a whole lot of movement going on for something that's such a big part of the franchise. I wonder if too many those above are trying to get too involved with it. Maybe making it more difficult than it needs to be. We'll have to see. Joby Harold does not have much experience. He is best known for executive producing John Wick 3, Parabellum. He's also writing the upcoming Zack Snyder film Army of the Dead. He was also hired to take a new take on Transformers. So, I mean, he is, I guess you would say he's in demand to a degree, but with a lack of actual writing credits, a lot of writing credits, it's not something I'm excited about, but we'll have to see. I'm definitely keeping an open mind. I'm definitely so excited to see the series when it comes down. I mean, Ewan McGregor's still attached and everything else, so I have to see what exactly happens, but I will say I'm not exactly excited to hear, again, more changes coming around. So we'll have to see what happens with that. Next bit of news is a little piece of a sad news. Andrew Jack, Star Wars dialect coach, also portrayed Cal-Ylan Emmett in The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, also voiced Malak in Solo's Star Wars story, has passed away due to complications from the coronavirus. Very sad. He's well liked on the films. Got some nice touching tributes coming in from J.J. Abrams, from Mark Hamill. It's a shame, of course, with what's going on in the world today. It's a shame we're losing people who were as talented and as well beloved as Andrew Jack. So from us to his family, we salute you and best wishes and positivity in this trying time. Next up, we have Jamie Lee Curtis. Jamie Lee Curtis has been cited as possibly being in Mandalorian Season 2. Now the season has wrapped shooting. All of these casting rumors have been floating around. This one, the sources I read have said, is definitely classified as a rumor as of now. I guess she was spotted on the set at some point, whether she was visiting Halloween Kills in the same area, or whether she's actually taking part. It's hard to say. The sources seem to indicate that they thought she was taking part. We'll have to see. What I feel about that, I feel it's a kind of cool spot. I mean, she's definitely a strong female actress in her own right, starring one of the greatest female actress heroines of the film universe. I'd be interested to see. I could probably get her something, a nice meaty role. Probably nothing I wouldn't think too much more than extended, like maybe a featured episode or maybe a short-term 2 or 3 episode arc, something to that effect. But it would be good. It's always good to have talent. It's always good to have talent on the set. So she is a part of Mandalorian Season 2. I'll be happy to see what she has to offer. And I like Jamie Lee Curtis, so that would be good for me. All right, last bit of real news. Right after they announced, or while the rumors were out that Michael Biehn was cast in Season 2 as well, this was a concept art that was leaked out. Making Star Wars had that up there as the concept art that leaked, featuring Michael Bihn's bounty hunter type character. Pretty typical bounty hunter character, does look like Michael Biehn. So, I mean, definitely to me, that lends credence that Michael Biehn was cast, although we still don't have any confirmation of that, or Jamie Lee Curtis. So we're just going to have to wait and see how that does develop. Finally, the last bit of news for me is that I got my copy of The Art of the Rise of Skywalker this week. I've started perusing, got about halfway through already. I love these books. If you don't get these books, then you're definitely missing out. I've gotten them for all of the Disney Star Wars movies, as well as the precursor versions from the prequels and the original trilogy. They're not quite the same style, but basically it's just concept art, stories of the making of, basically a lot of cool stuff. You can see some conceptual designs here, a few bit of the story development, such as the Sith Wayfinder was not the original MacGuffin. It was going to be a piece of tech that killed the First Order, for all the First Order tech. Little bits and pieces about Babu Freak, little bits and pieces about a space, an ancient wizard that Kylo Ren was going to seek out, or that Rey was going to seek out, trying to get information. Finally, also the tidbit that at one point Kylo Ren was going to be in the Jedi temple on Coruscant, the abandoned Jedi temple at that point. I love the cool little tidbits that you get to see and hear about that didn't make the cut, but also some great concept work and how they got from point A to point B to point C, and how they always try to keep it within the realm of Lucas and what his vision was, making it seem lived in, making it seem genuine, making the everything from the Star Destroyers as they get further on down the line, make them make sense as to why the designs changed, the evolution, so to speak. It's a great book. I really, really highly enjoy this series. I highly recommend you picking it up if you have any interest in Star Wars, in artwork, and in behind the scenes stuff. It's very cool. Very cool. Like, it's actually better than most of the documentaries I see that get put up on film, really. Definitely, I can't recommend it enough. From there, we're going to move on to the Clone Wars Season 7, Episode 7, Dangerous Debt. Continuing the adventures of Ahsoka and the sisters, are getting involved where they probably shouldn't get involved with the Pikes. This was an episode that definitely was, I can't say, not going to say filler, because it wasn't a filler episode, but one main problem with the episode is that it began and ended at the same spot. They're prisoners in the beginning, they are prisoners of the Pikes at the end. So what exactly happened? I mean, there's definitely some character development. We get a little more of the reinforcement of the sisters being against the Jedi. We get to reveal why exactly they're against the Jedi, and kind of a cool storyline. That was actually one of the best parts of the story of the episode, when we discussed, they actually called back to earlier in the Clone Wars when Zero the Hutt was broken out of prison by Cad Bane. You get to see that perspective from someone not involved with the Jedi or with the security or with the senators or anything. Just a normal, everyday humans living on Coruscant, how that affected them. The Jedi, instead of letting the runaway shuttle during that sequence go into a population, they made it crash into a wall, happened to be their house, killing their parents. Later on, they were greeted by, they described to be Luminara Unduli, and but it ends up sparking their, not hatred is the right word, but their distrust of the Jedi, and how they don't really trust anybody at this point anymore, why they've gone to be where they are and on the run. And it's a cool storyline to at least see. Again, it's developing Ahsoka's mistrust of the Jedi herself, seeing everything in a different light, trying to see everything from different angles. I do like that aspect of it. The other cool sequences, as they are attempting to break out of the Pike's imprisonment, we get to see signs of the Mandalorians actually being there, and maybe he's seeking out Ahsoka, probably looking into what's going to be the ending of the season and of the series, the upcoming Siege of Mandalore, which is what I'm really looking forward to. That should be the coup of the big kahuna, so to speak, of the Clone Wars Season 7. So it's touching based on that a little bit. They don't say exactly, it's not very much. They just see Ahsoka, they see they're tracking them, and they're going to be there. So I'm sure they're going to be a big part of the adventure in the final episode of this arc, which is next week. Overall, though, like I said, it's a good episode. Very deep at getting as far as characterization development with Ahsoka, which is definitely needed. Like I said, there's only so much time left. You want to see her go from Jedi hero to maybe not anti-Jedi, but seeing the world in a different way before she has to step back and maybe reclaim her position, not as a Jedi, but as a hero in her own right. So overall, decent. I just felt like when you begin in prison by the Pikes, you end in prison by the Pikes, what exactly what we're doing. Overall, I give it about, I'd say 3.5 stars out of 5. The good was really good. The action was fine, if not a little silly at times. Definitely worth a watch. But as you all know, I'm looking forward mostly to the season finale with the Siege of Mandalore. Scan through a few of these pictures here. These are good pictures. These are some of the action they break out. Breaking out some other criminals there. Ahsoka ready to introduce sneaking uses of forces here and there. It's kind of funny how the sisters don't even seem to question it. But that's where we end off this episode. Finally, the walkthrough of the Star Wars media. We're up to Star Wars number 11 from the Marvel Comics line. This is where the new writers have taken over. Like I said previously, this is a interesting tale. It's funny that the front cover involves Luke Skywalker, when most of the main story involves Han and Princess Leia. Luke, R2, and 3PO went off to a different planet. They're looking for a new base of operations for the rebels after the Death Star had blown up. But obviously, the Imperials know where the base is on Yavin 4. They're looking for new places to be. They come in contact with these monsters that you can tell on the cover. They crash land into a very ocean-like planet. They also meet a group of individuals who control monsters, but they're kind of left off in a very precarious situation, a cliffhanger, so to speak. But that's really not the meat of the story for me. The meat of the story was Han leaving Aduba 3 in the Millennium Falcon after the Magnificent 7 type run. He's talking to Chewie about how he wants to go back to the rebellion because his parents with his tail between his legs because Captain Jack had stolen his money. Crimson Jack had stolen his treasure. He had no really place to go at this point except for maybe back to the rebellion. But as he goes back, guess who's there again? It is again Crimson Jack takes him up. But this time, we discover that Princess Leia is also aboard Crimson Jack's vessel. She had to run off after trying to find Luke after not hearing from him for a while, hearing some problems with him. She wants to find him, save the day. But she gets caught up by Crimson Jack too. So you can see Han and Leia and their interactions. Of course, this is well before Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, any romantic angle, but there is hints of that already. Han having to try to bluster his way past Crimson Jack by saying how much they love they are, and Princess Leia playing her along a little bit until she can get the one up back on Han Solo himself. That's a fun tale for Han, very much in character with his cockiness, his attempts to wing it, had usually end up being on the wrong side of the adventure. Crimson Jack is not a bad pirate for a 70s comic book character. His gang seems to be hopefully maybe a recurring adversary for Han Solo, but it's a nice little issue. It's fun enough to continue the adventure. It finally looks like we're going to get Han, Luke, and Leia all back together in the near future instead of having them being separate. And I look forward to that as the pulpy adventures of Star Wars continues in comic book form. But that's the episode this week. It's always going to be a quick one this week, a little free form. Stay tuned for next week for any, again, bits of news. It's a review, the review episode 8 of the Clone Wars. Next walkthrough section. And maybe I might add something. I had the PLD proclamation a few weeks back talking about the ending of Rise of Skywalker, all different parts of Rise of Skywalker. I might decide to do something like that again if something hits me, like a hot topic like that hits me, something I want to debate or talk about. I might do just a quick rundown of some of my favorite characters, some of my favorite battles, my favorite books, some of my favorite just go through some things as the story develops and as my interest develops. Up to see. If you have anything you want me to talk about, leave it in the questions, leave in the comments, or get a hold of me at Paul_Denuzio on Twitter. I'm always open for suggestions. I try to make this as fun as I can for you guys and hopefully learn maybe a little something, or if not, at least get to discuss or hear my opinions on stuff that you are interested in hearing about. Well, like I said, at Paul_Denuzio. Thank you for sticking around for a little bit. Hit that like and subscribe button. Help me get to 100 subscribers. That's what we're working on now. Stay tuned for more PLD-1138 on a weekly basis. Usually it's Saturday or Sunday, depending on my other schedules. You can also find me doing PLD Views, which is my show on V, the 1983 sci-fi saga. After that, I'll be developing other shows, such as going into the Harris stats, of course, my favorite actor, Ed Harris, and other things like that. I'm always open to discussing ideas for different shows. I want to do an interview show with some of my friends from the movie Trivia Schmodown and the Action Army. If you don't know what that is, go find them on YouTube, Movie Trivia Schmodown, or on Patreon level. It's kind of a cool movie trivia show that has a flair of wrestling and UFC. Also, you can find me on the Call to Action podcast, which is an after show for the movie Trivia Schmodown. I do a weekly interview series called Chill to Action with my co-host Danny Joy. And I also do a show on the Action Industries YouTube channel with Ben Bateman and Andrew Guy. And I do, it's called, like I said, it's Class Action with my buddy Richard Eric Jarvie, where we pit up movies against each other and have some cool discussions there. We recently did a ranking of the Kevin Smith movies. So, yeah, like I said, there's all different places you can find me. If you're not sick of hearing about me yet, go ahead and click that thumbs up, and I will see you next week, or maybe even sooner. Hell, I can see you this Saturday or Sunday with Class Action if you head over there. So, thank you very much. May the force be with you always.